We all know that stress can feel like a huge burden that we can't get rid of. When our mind senses a change in the surrounding environment, particularly a fight or flight situation, our body secretes a stress hormone that we all know good and well as cortisol. Our body releases hormones that stimulate the release of cortisol so that we can be prepared to react in case we need to defend ourselves from a potential danger. Easy enough, right? Not so fast. To avoid making this video 48 hours long, we're going to only discuss the two major effects of cortisol, how it makes you fat and sick. But what is stress? Why do we have such a premeditated, intense, carefully thought out, ingrained system in our body? Stress is a bad thing, right? After all, the more stressed we are, the worse we feel. We feel as if we're going nowhere. We begin to overthink. We begin to have negative thoughts and emotions. So let's get into the first thing. Stress can make you fat. But why? I thought stress was supposed to help us during a fight or flight response, which thousands of years ago would have been a large animal or any other situation that we would have felt threatened in. And now you're thinking, well, we can't really get away from that situation from gaining weight. So what's really going on? So just for a second, let's get into some specifics. When our body feels stressed, our natural response is to generate fuel to get away from that stressful situation. It does this by converting our stored glucose storages into a usable form of energy from glucose, aka sugar. This is known as glycogenolysis, aka sugar that is generated from breaking down sugar storages. So to make this simple, our body fights off stress by converting glycogen to glucose to energy, aka ATP or adenosine triphosphate, through glycolysis, which is also known as sugar breakdown. But how does this make us gain weight? If our body makes sugar to generate energy, it's a good thing, right? Not always. Not all of our stress in our life is about fight or flight situations, like running away from a bear or other physical stress that we think about. A lot of the stress in our life comes from psychological areas, such as the night before giving a huge presentation or studying for a career-changing exam, among others. But here's the catch. Our brain doesn't know the difference between physical and psychological stimuli. Even if we're not running away from anything, the brain will still supply the body with the energy that it thinks it needs. But if we continue to stress out and not actually exercise, which means we're not using that energy to run away from a physical stress, our fat in our body gets moved to another area with lots of cortisol receptors. Would you like to guess where those cortisol receptors are? The stomach. Well, for guys at least. For girls, it goes more towards the thighs. This type of fat is known as visceral fat, which can cause many different diseases like obesity, heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, etc. Cortisol also makes you more hungry, which can lead to further weight gain if you take in high-fat foods like ice cream or high-salty foods like pretzels, etc. And this is just one of the many ways that stress leads to increased weight. Another effect of cortisol is that it can reduce the effectiveness of the immune system by lowering the number of white blood cells in your body and increasing blood pressure. Not only that, but long periods of stress can reduce bone formation, which can lead to osteoporosis, slow digestion of food, rapid breathing, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you. Until next time.